Well, as it turns out, Alabama's going to get to play Georgia this Saturday. They're also going to get to play them on September 28th. We'll explain it all in a minute.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him, Jimmy. The SEC, in true SEC fashion, kind of like what the NFL does now. They are releasing some of the schedule, or at least it's leaked some of the schedule for 2024. We've been waiting on this. And look, I know we're all excited about Georgia coming up this Saturday, and we're definitely going to be talking Georgia the rest of this week and some in this podcast. But I'm fascinated by the schedule. And Alabama's has already, well, not all of Alabama's, but some of it. And here's some key dates. Alabama will host Georgia on September 28th. Now, I think we all could have guessed that Alabama-Georgia would be early in the season, probably because the thought process is these two have a good chance to meet again in the SEC title game. So you don't want them to play late in the season, then play again in the title game. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. I understand.
Like what would happen with Michigan, Ohio State, this year.
Exactly.
If they had gotten rid of divisions, they'd have played 2 weekends in a row. And, chances are the second one, which is a bigger game, would actually be viewed by fewer people.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only problem I see with that is Alabama travels to Wisconsin, then comes home and welcomes Georgia. Now,
yeah, pretty brutal.
I don't think anything's going to change with that. I don't think Alabama's going to get out of the Wisconsin game or anything. And frankly, Wisconsin hasn't been as good as some past Wisconsin teams. But it is still coached by Luke Fickell. It is still going to be a big game. And then coming back to welcome Georgia is going to be very difficult. Then on September 19th, which is pretty traditional, Alabama will travel to Tennessee. No big mystery.
October 19th.
What did I say?
October 19th, correct. You said September, but I think everybody, you said, but October 19th.
Everybody knew what I ment.
Yeah, I did.
Look, don't go by the things I say. Go by what I mean. So Alabama, Tennessee on October 19th. Then on November 9th, Alabama, LSU. Again, I think that's, well, frankly, I don't know that is normally right. Because if Tennessee is on the 19th, then you would think we're going to have a game after Tennessee. And then probably an off week. And
then the bye week. Yeah, so there'll be a game after Tennessee, and then the bye week, and then LSU.
Whew. Okay. Then on the 23rd, we travel to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Good God. And then obviously the next week, they have not announced this, but the next week will be Auburn and Alabama. I mean, I don't think they're not moving the Iron Bowl. I don't think. I mean, that would be nutty.
So we will have to, instead of playing this FCS opponent the week before Auburn, we're going to play at Oklahoma before playing Auburn, which is just brutal. And this all gets back to what I've been saying the whole time. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face, and no one will listen to me, I'm sure, especially Alabama fans. But I'm telling you, the new 12-0 is 10-2. 10-2 is a spectacular finish in the new world. 10-2. You finish 10-2, you have done something, buddy.
Well, and that's so true. And then, what it makes me think about is the Patriots going undefeated in the regular season and then winning their first 2 games in the playoffs only to lose to the Giants because, what? It's really, really hard to go undefeated all the way in the NFL. That's why only one team has ever done it in the 72 Dolphins.
We're not the NFL, but because in the NFL, I mean, I guess 10-2 is sort of like 15-2 in the NFL. Who's going to finish 15-2? I mean, the Eagles have the best record now. I bet they don't finish 15-2. Yeah. I mean, they might finish 13-4, which is incredible. But I'm just telling you, it's a new world for the SEC and the Big Ten. Now, I do think that Big 12 schools, ACC schools, there might be a 12-0 in there. But if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, your schedule is just going to be just too hard. Auburn, by the way, while we're at Oklahoma, Auburn is apparently at Missouri, so they won't get a break before the Alabama-Auburn game.
Okay.
I worried when I saw Alabama was going to be at Oklahoma. I got a little worried. I'm like, Auburn better not be playing an FCS school while we're at Oklahoma, and that's not the case. We're actually playing our FCS school the week before. The week before we play Oklahoma, this November 16th, Alabama will play the FCS program that we're playing.
All right. Well, you have even more info than I did. I'm going off the ESPN story, and I don't see any mention of the Auburn-Missouri game. Where did you get that?
I'm not sure where I got it. I mean, I'm not trying to be vague. I literally don't remember. Someone in the discussion on the BOL On3 message board, someone had that information that was not an employee of BOL. So maybe I shouldn't have said that with my chest, but it looked. If you're on message boards enough, I've got a gift of knowing what's credible and what's not. It looked credible.
Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna find more about this, and I want to, because
I don't know too much more than what I just told you. Also I did see a couple of early interesting games on week 1 to look forward to. How about week 1 Miami at Florida, week 1 Notre Dame at Texas A&M?
Yeah, the other, like, ESPN just had the notable matchups. Notre Dame, A&M. These are all August 31st games. Texas A&M in Florida. Texas A&M traveling there on September 14th. So Mike Elko going to, I think, Billy Napier. I don't think they're going to can him, but he might. Tennessee at Oklahoma, September 21. What they don't mention here, I don't see mention of the. Well, wait a minute. You know what? I think Alabama plays Wisconsin on the September 14th. Now it just dawned on me. So we actually have a game. Weekend. We have a game before.
Correct. There is a game before.
Okay.
Correct. So, now that you say, in my head, we were playing Wisconsin the 21st because I know it's the third game. But actually, you're right. The third game is actually September 14th because the first game is August 31st. So yes, there is a game in between Wisconsin and Georgia that I believe will be. I mean, I don't know. It'll be an SEC game because the non-conference games are already set. We're playing non-conference games 31st, 7th, and 14th, and then at the end against the FCS school the week before Oklahoma.
Yeah, and true. And Auburn is going to be on the 30th. I'm seeing this now. And I see where somebody said Auburn better not have to play somebody easy before us, and it sounds like you're right. Somebody does mention that they're going to have Missouri. So and I can buy that because Missouri could be a top 10 team. I mean, they really could be.
Well, they could. I mean, some of it. I mean, just like so many other schools, Missouri's dependent on who comes back, and they're waiting with bated breath on Brady Cook's decision. Is he going to go pro or is he going to stay? If Brady Cook stays, I think Missouri. When you got that to build around, right? Brady Cook, and of course Luther Burden will be back. He's just a sophomore. And if those guys come back,
I don't guess
feel pretty good.
I don't guess that little Division IV running back they have, who's just a can come back. But
nope, he is. He's in his 7th year or something. But so he'll be going to the NFL.
Oh, you know what he's going to be? He's going to look. I don't think he might make a pro team, and I mean he's got New England vibes. There's no doubt about it. But if he doesn't make a pro team, he is going to be hell in whatever flag football corporate team he plays for. I can tell you that.
I think it's pretty good. I'm real interested to see his measurables in Indianapolis, like every other back. But it's not going to surprise me if he's a good NFL player. Because he catches the ball and he's tough. He's tough and he catches the ball. But in the end, so much at that position is about your speed as far as the NFL goes. So I'm always fascinated by that. That's one. There's a couple positions where you've got to run great to play in the NFL, and corner and running back.
All right. So very quickly, this is how the schedule is shaping up right now for Alabama for next year. Western Kentucky at home, South Florida at home. At Wisconsin, then we don't know. Georgia at home, don't know. At Tennessee, don't know. A bye before LSU, we believe, November 2nd.
Yep.
At LSU, Mercer at home. At Oklahoma, Auburn at home. Okay, now that schedule seems more palatable because here's what you got to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks There's going to be 2 bye weeks, by the way. That also helps.
Sure.
And so you have 2 bye weeks, and you've got to fill in those blanks with at Vandy, Missouri, and South Carolina at home. So here's my hope. It's Western Kentucky, USF, at Wisconsin. Boy, I kind of want to go at Vandy and just knock that
road game at Vandy and get the road SEC. Hey, whenever you play a road game at Vanderbilt, that's the plum. The plum isn't Vandy at home. People are wrong when they said that. That's not the plum. The plum is Vandy on the road, because now you've knocked out one of your road games in an extremely winnable game that's on the road. That's the plum of the league, is the at Vandy game. And Alabama gets that. Now, here's what's not a plum. At Oklahoma, at Tennessee, at LSU, Georgia at home. There is nothing plummy about that whatsoever.
No, that is much less plum and more prune.
Yeah.
Prune
Is
juice.
there a pit in a plum? I don't know enough about fruit. Is there a pit in a plum? I don't think so. But
I remember somebody stuck their thumb in one, didn't they?
Yeah, that's like a fairy tale thing.
Or maybe that was me. Anyway, I need to tell everybody about FanDuel. When we come back, we're going to talk we're just going to begin, talking about Georgia just a little bit, and also just have some more news around the league. But I want to tell everybody about FanDuel right now, because I love me some FanDuel. There's an NFL game going on right now. And if you were smart, you use FanDuel and took some action on it. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. With any $5 winning money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. That's all they got to do is just win the game. Don't have to cover. Just got to win. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads and player props. Those are so fun. Over-unders and much, much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season, or get involved in the NFL season, because it's past halfway done. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. I also want to tell everybody about LinkedIn. You know I love LinkedIn. We all love LinkedIn, Jimmy. It's the best. There's no doubt about it. And when you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Look, LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. There's only like 7 billion people in the world. That's right. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and even quicker. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they probably apply. So, Jimmy, the schedule thing still has me blown away. I mean, I can't wait to put all this in my schedule and figure my own personal schedule and see what games I'm going to. I'm definitely going to go to Vanderbilt because it's such an easy trip. Go to Tennessee, maybe. I mean, I hadn't been there in a while, but I've been there a lot. Go to Oklahoma. I did it last time. Funny story. I rented a car well in advance, and the only car they had for me, like, it was the Jerry Seinfeld situation of, I made a reservation. Yeah, but we don't have a car. Well, you took my reservation. They were like, I know what a reservation is. I'm like, I don't think you do. But the only car they had was a banana yellow Mustang, and I love riding that pup here.
That's fire.
By the way, so in 2002, that's when we played them out there, right? It was hot. It was just so hot. It was melting hot, just so hot. And if you were out there, I mean, it's not like there's a lot of mountains to give you shade or trees to give you shade or nothing. It was hot. The sun was like on top of you. and it was awful. Well, November 23rd, guess what it's going to be? Ice
Cold.
cold. So, yeah. Anyway, a couple of things around the SEC. First of all, Mike Elko is hired officially by Texas A&M, and they immediately indoctrinate him to their cultish-like behavior by doing some kind of kumbaya, welcome to the club, blood brother dance or sway or whatever it is they do. And I'm like, Texas A&M, we really do like having y'all in here. I mean, we really do. I think it's great that Texas A&M's in the conference. Y'all got to quit with some of this stuff, though, man. You can't just have the goofy guys doing all the, the nutcracker dance on like the midnight yell thing and these terrible insults. I mean, just try you don't have to be totally normal. None of us are. Alabama isn't. Auburn isn't. LSU isn't. But you got to be a little more normal.
I think Dabo Swinney probably saw that video and immediately regretted not getting that job. Dabo's like, that's a perfect fit for me. What am I doing?
Oh my God.
Wasting my life. Dabo would be a good. And I had a buddy saying that he thought Dabo would end up with that job because of his ties with Gene Stallings, but that didn't happen. And I think Dabo is a Clemson lifer and or possibly ends his career at Alabama. But I think he's going to, it takes some circumstances for that to happen that aren't present right now. But I think the fact that Dabo didn't go to A&M and he'd be so terrible in the NFL, I don't think he'd be a good NFL guy at all. I think he's a Clemson guy until he retires or possibly ends up at Alabama. But I think there's only one. I think there's a scenario that he ends up at Alabama, but he wouldn't be the guy that follows Saban.
There have already been some key people enter the transfer portal. I mentioned that Will Rogers. We talked about him. I don't know where he ends up, but I really do hope, frankly, he ends up in the SEC because I'm like, why wouldn't you want to stay in this conference and just do your thing? Arkansas lost a player today too, and I'm trying to find whose name
escaped.
Chris Paul. That's it. That's a big one. I mean, the Arkansas crowd was like, this is bad. So
he's a good player. Vanderbilt lost a good linebacker too, but Arkansas's linebacker is a good player. The guy that went in the portal today that interests me, if I was Alabama, I'm interested. I'm not saying we got to get this guy, but I'm like, here's a guy we need to watch a lot of tape on. Is the Notre Dame center. This is a multi-year.
He also went in.
He did, yeah. But the center is a multi-year starter. He has been awarded some all-star type accolades. He played against Alabama as a really young player in the 2020 season. He started at center against Alabama in 2020, which shows he's been playing a while. Very experienced, but he's also missed a lot of time with injury. I just think he's interesting. And of course, there's the relationship with Tommy Rees. So that intrigues me, but I'm not ready to, when you're shopping on the internet and you got to click the button that says add to cart, not ready to add to cart, but I think that might be worth kicking the tires on. Oh, you're muted. I know.
Shoot.
I know. There's so little I can say. I was on a show just the other day and I did it to myself finally. And of course I invoked your name. I pulled a Luke. I mean, right. I'm like, I did a Luke. I finally did a Luke.
Well, what I was trying to say was, how about Raleek Brown, the wide receiver at USC? Mm-hmm. Now, look, I don't know if Alabama has any interest or whatever, but I think at one time he was committed to Oklahoma, and then I think he ended up signing with USC.
He was a national top 100 player. I know that. He was a national top 100. I'm not sure what he's done at USC.
Not much.
Look, this is real complicated. I mean, the last thing Alabama's going to do is go, oh, let's take him. He's good. Oh, let's take him. He's good. It has a lot to do with their own roster. Who's coming back? Where's there a hole? Where's there a need? That's that. And who do they know? Like, for instance, how many of these portal guys that Alabama has added, Luke, did me and you say the day they entered the portal, here's the guy Alabama wants? I think there were some rumors about Tyler Harrell, who ended up being just not good at all, and kudos to us, by the way. I think we were both kind of throwing water on that, before before he got to Alabama, like, I don't know about this. And he wasn't good even at Miami. But I'm just saying that I don't remember me and you going, watch out for Trey Amos, watch out for Jalen Key, watch out for Trez Marshall. Now Buckner's a different situation because he's a quarterback and he played for Tommy Rees. So some things you can sort of see coming to an extent. But most of the time, I think when Alabama lands somebody out of the portal, will be as surprised as everybody listening to the show. I mean, in terms of who do they know? They seem to like guys they know. That hasn't been true in every case, but it's been true in a lot of cases. I think Evan Stewart is not in the portal yet. I would definitely agree he is one to watch. Like, that could happen because that situation reminds me a ton of Jermaine Burton. There's a lot of Jermaine Burton in that story where we recruited Burton out of high school. We recruited Stewart out of high school. They were immediate starters. They're good players. Now, they didn't put up Malik Neighbors type numbers, but they put up numbers for years 1 and years 2 in the league. They're good players. We knew them out of high school, and they didn't consider any schools but Alabama. I think Evan Stewart's one to watch, but I'm not ready to stamp that and say, hey, I think this might happen. I'm just saying I'd look at the Notre Dame Center and I'd consider Evan Stewart for sure.
Need to tell everybody about PrizePicks. Look, PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including those pros and those sharks. You pick more or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Look, PrizePicks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season, and now I can play during basketball season too. You just select 2 or more players and pick more or less on their projected stats and place your entry. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce had a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. It's that simple. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Telling you, you're going to love it. Go to PrizePicks. It is the most fun you can have legally in the United States.
Wow.
I made that up on the spot.
Wow. I know. That was good, though.
You're welcome, PrizePicks. Jimmy, I'm glad you brought up Jermaine Burton when referencing Evan Stewart, because Jermaine Burton's going to be one of the ones we're definitely going to keep an eye on. Look, instead of doing a whole segment on it later, let's just talk about Jermaine Burton facing off against Georgia. You want to do some PrizePick stuff here? I'll make up something on the spot. Over under combo, Jermaine Burton touchdowns plus personal fouls at 1.5. I'm going to take the
over.
Clearly.
No, I wouldn't have gone over if you said 2.5. So I think 1.5 is a great number, or 2.
Great number.
Because I feel pretty good about the chances of him scoring a touchdown, because it seems like Milroe to Burton is even better in the bigger games. And that personal foul,
that's happening. He may do that early.
Yeah, the Hubble Space Telescope has already seen it.
He seriously may do that a little early, just like, and Saban's like, what are you doing? He's like, Coach, you knew I was going to do it. I'd rather do it now when it's not as costly. By the way, kudos to Jermaine Burton, because on the last play on Isaiah Bond's catch, an Auburn player did sort of slap him in the face mask, like he's just walking by. Now, he probably said something. I don't know that he said something. I'm saying
there's a good chance he did.
There's a good chance he said something, but he wasn't even looking at the dude. And the Auburn guy slapped him in the face mask. Of course, there was no call because they didn't call anything correctly in this game. But kudos to him for keeping his cool. Kudos.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm not
stunning. Yeah, it is. That would have set off a lot of guys, and for some reason, it didn't set off Jermaine at all. Maybe he's just saving it up for the end, because he's probably at practice this week. Every catch he makes, he's probably practicing his unsportsmanlike behavior, just so he can have it in the has it in the toothpaste tube ready to smash out at any minute. I like one. Let's be conservative. Let's go one touchdown and one unsportsmanlike.
That's what I'm going with.
But I'm just being conservative because there could be more touchdowns. There could be more unsportsmanlikes.
If at the beginning of this game they say Jermaine Burton is out because he has a groin pull from practicing his gyrations for his celebratory gyrations, I'm going to be upset about that. Otherwise, Jermaine, you do you, bro. I'm telling you, I've come to love you. If he
scores a touchdown, I'll take the 15 yards right now. That's a deal I'm taking right now. I'll take the 15 yards.
We will gladly do that. So do your thing, Jermaine. We'll talk more about Georgia the rest of this week. I thought it'd be kind of fun to throw out a college football playoff guess right now. Look, we're all disappointed Alabama remains at 8 in the AP poll. I get it. I get it. Like maybe from a national perspective, they look at Alabama going to Auburn and winning on the last second, 4th and 31 as really sort of a negative because, hey, New Mexico State did just come in there and wax Auburn. I get that. If you do look at it that way, that's your way of telling me you don't know college football, though. This is the craziest rivalry in all of sports, if you ask me. And if you don't know that when Alabama goes to Jordan-Hare, things are different. I was talking to somebody earlier tonight in my daughter's basketball practice that I said even in 2011, when we beat them 42-14, it felt like we couldn't shake them because we'd get a lead, and then you know what they do? They didn't score an offensive touchdown that whole game. But they had a sack fumble for a touchdown. And then they returned the opening kickoff of the second half for a touchdown, I believe it was. So, I mean, we just couldn't. We were like, God almighty, just let us blow you out. We're supposed to. And we would have. I really do believe this. We would have blown them out last week if not for that ticky-tack holding call. It's 14-0. I think they go in the shell. But that's just me. Anyway, if the voters look at that and go, hey, that wasn't that impressive. First of all, you don't know what you're thinking about, but that's okay. Then at the very least, could you say the same thing about Washington, who was playing a bad Washington State team at home? And it took a lot for them to win that game too. What would you say about Florida State, who was playing a really bad Florida team who's not going bowling? It took a lot for them to win that game. It took a lot of Billy Napier mistakes, frankly.
They're going to be ranked really high, Luke. They're going to be ranked really high, maybe as high as 3rd, I think 4th, Florida State. In my opinion, there are 10 or 12 teams in college football that would easily beat today's Florida State. 10 or 12.
I agree.
And I'm being conservative because like the team that I would say 12th, hey, when I say 12 teams can beat, the 12th team I'm talking about is somebody like Oklahoma
or Missouri.
They would drum Florida State. I don't think that'd be close. I'll name some other teams that could possibly beat Florida State, Oregon State, Kansas State, maybe North Carolina State. That's what I mean. Penn State for sure, Ole Miss for sure. All those teams would beat Florida State now, but I don't believe the committee is going to ding them. I think the committee is going to treat them as if just they are an undefeated ACC conference champion, and they'll be treated like that. They won't be treated like, gosh, this isn't one of the 4 best teams.
So you think we'll just, I mean, like wrapping this up, you still think we'll be at 8 then with the committee, just like the polls?
I believe we'll be at 8.
Okay.
I believe we'll be at 8. We'll even be behind Ohio State.
Okay. I mean, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying.
Well, no, you can hope that I'm wrong. You can say, you need to be wrong as usual. You need to be wrong like you always are. Be wrong again.
As long as it's made clear, look, if Alabama beats Georgia, we're pushing them ahead of a lot of teams. Now, will they get in the Final Four? That's not a guarantee, but I would think it should be. And I've heard a lot more narrative here recently that if Alabama beats Georgia, they're in. I mean, I've heard a lot more narrative about that. I don't know if that makes it true. I don't know what it is. And frankly, Jimmy, I want to quit worrying about it. We've got to beat this Georgia team, and we're going to.
I'd rather beat Georgia and be screwed.
Exactly. We said
than not beat Georgia and be here doing our show like some are being mad about. You know, if we had beaten Georgia, they wouldn't have let us in. I mean, Is that a show? That's not even a show. I mean, you got to beat Georgia before you can get all mad about that sort of stuff. And hey, I'll take being mad as long as there's a win over Georgia and I can buy me an SEC championship T-shirt.
Exactly.
That'll be my trophy.
All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. Thank you guys for watching. We love you so much. You guys are the best. So we'll be back tomorrow. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.